Now, one individual who I genuinely feel worse for than the I right now is Candace Owens. Damn, damn. This news must be nothing short of tragic for her because, as far as she's concerned, her supposed main funder, her main source of revenue outside of YouTube, of course, and maybe her paid channels and things of that nature. This was where she was getting most of her sponsorships, allegedly. I mean, what other conclusion would somebody like myself draw when we saw her just a few years back in defense of Israel, working for not just one, but two owned companies, collecting checks from these individuals? Somebody who believed that Palestine was not actually considered its own state. A few years later, and she is the most anti is voice I have heard in a long time. And I listen to all sorts of individuals and their perspectives. I'm talking about the furthest left of left. And I have never heard anything like what has come out of this young lady's mouth. So yeah, I just want to send my I guess my condolences. Is that what that would be?
Yes, I have seen mixed reactions on social media. Some people celebrating, while some are not happy. And it's Candace Owens, like you saw at the beginning of this video. President Trump tweeted this: "We have completed our successful attack on the three side in including Fondo. You know, all plans are now outside of airspace. A full payload of this was dropped on the Premier side." Okay, I don't want to read out the word because of this platform. They don't really allow us to report on this issue. Candace when replied to this, a full payload of B was dropped, followed by and now is a time for peace. Utterly deranged. If we had raised the 100 million and gave him on GoFundMe, maybe he would have kept his promise. Guess we will never know. Candace Owen is outspoken against what is going on. For some time now, I've seen her going off on Trump totally. Before the election, we saw Candace Owen supporting Vivek against Trump, and things didn't really change. I don't know why she's doing this.
This is the question that the president has to ask, and I know he's watching. Mr. President, ask your team, what happens the day after? That's a question president needs to ask. What happens the day after? And are we ready? And I know the answer to that is no, right? Why? Because this president has diverted resources away from intelligence, away from from Homeland Security, and all toward deportations. He seems to think the greatest threat to America is a guy with a leaf blower in Encino, not a guy with a side vest in Manhattan. Okay? We are not ready for this militarily.
I'm honestly so tired of seeing uneducated people talking about America, and especially privileged Americans. And yes, you are privileged. If you are an American and have never lived in the Middle East, you have no right to speak on this. You have no idea what's really going on there. What's even more annoying me is watching privileged Americans dare to speak out against the US, one of the best countries in the world to raise kids in peace. Yes, in peace. If Iran he would use that against everyone in the world. And it's time people to learn the difference between people who are kind, who are nice, who are amazing people, and living under a operation, and the regime that rules them, which is pure evil. It's a rich country with poor citizens because they're stealing their money. They are stealing money from their own people. And I want you to know something. All the people happy with this situation. They all want just freedom. I'm a legal immigrant, and coming here was the best decision I've ever made. I get to raise my kids in peace. So to America, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for opening your door for me. Thank you for doing that for all of us.
Yes, like I said, there is something more concerning in the conservative movement that I've seen. Trump was in the media. There are people that support him throughout when this decision surfaced on social media, I saw different reactions. People that support him every single day going off on him like this is not what I voted for. Today I watched Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, they made it clear they are not going into war with this country. That is what they said. What I don't understand is the fact that they hit this country. Now they are telling this country if they try to do that to anything linked to US, they will have a force they have not seen before.
Literally shed a tear or two. And so, long story short, for those of you that are unaware, um, the mofo that resides in the White House has unilaterally, in my estimation, declared war. We have a constitution that seemingly does not matter to this man or the people that are supposed to be advising him. I will say that I want to give a shout out to a Republican, Thomas Massey, who made it clear that he wanted to reiterate that the power as relates to war declaration, the power that we derive from the Constitution, it resides with Congress. And the House is out. Hell, the Senate is out. It is a Saturday right now. So no one's in. We ain't been called in. And let me just explain briefly why I am so heartbroken. Is because I don't think a number of nations should have nuclear. Let's just kind of level set on that. But at the same time, I wouldn't want anybody randomly just kind of coming at our throats and being like, yo, like y'all got nukes, so we just gonna, like, no. That is not how you deal with things. And there is a such thing as diplomacy. And we are living in this time in which there is someone who is occupying the White House who does not care about any rules, any norms, any laws, nor the Constitution. And we cannot be a civilized country if there is no law and order. So I know they may claim we law and order, blah, blah, blah. So go get the undocumented people and let's try to ship them out. Let me tell you something. They are not the people that are putting us in harm's way. It is him and his administration that is putting us in harm's way. I am telling you right now that I legitimately have had no intel whatsoever. Zero intel as a sitting member of Congress, regardless of how you feel about me, regardless of my party affiliation. No one has consulted specifically with me or anybody in my office to give us any information. And so the idea that this dude sitting in the White House, because it didn't come from Congress. So the only person that it could have come from would be him. So this is me making assumptions, and he's talking about he gonna jump on and talk about it after the fact or whatever.
Yes, this is not the first Democrat. I have seen a lot of these people, even Nancy Pelosi, freaking out about what just happened. Truth be told, if they allow these people to understand, know exactly what was to take place, this information could have circulated everywhere. Nobody knows, nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. I just waked up, I realized everywhere was like this. That's to tell you the level of cooperation that went down before this happened. Going back into this lady, this Jasmine, she has been like this for a very long time. Now they want to bring in an issue, with Trump for doing this. I want this lady to go back into what others did, Obama and the rest, if they took any decision somewhere, I want to know, at a certain point, when I look at Democrat, when it's Trump, they will do this every single time. Just imagine it was a Democrat president doing this. You will not see them saying anything. They will cover it up. Thank you guys for always been there sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. I don't want to make the videos long. Reason I will end here. If you see any clips after this, that is for the YT algorithm. They hardly recommend videos on this channel.
What did you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman? Second good step would be, we got to do something about The View.
They don't commit them as a matter of course. For her to say, oh, well, if you're black in the United States in 2025, it's basically the same as being...
And thinks that it's worthy of all of our attention.
People line up for my advice. And you're walking away like I'm stupid. It's like,
why don't we choose more carefully who we're going to lionize?
why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like
She's seriously depressed about how hard it is to live in the White House.
Post this morning.
It also shouldn't be racial. 100
has been overwhelming. The lies in their amplification.
This is not going to end. Right is right and wrong is wrong. All good.
If you see any clips after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm.
What if he says self-defense? There's no self-defense. The kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you...
Because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
Followers for anything. And then the
Registration Act is
talking about
term, and you will be very...
Once again, the field was littered with Wintour does.
And black people don't want to live around ratchet black.
how bad is his reputation going to be?
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence.
it's about what he needs as a grown man in the world. That would be...
You should have threw a boy in the mix.
I would. I'm so glad I didn't have a boy.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a Barack Obama.
It's like baby Barack. It would have been amazing.
No, I would have felt for him.
It's this victim mentality where it's not necessary.